This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, hello, whatever time it is with you and wherever you are. Thank you once again for downloading this SmackDown review as part of the WWE podcast. As always, it's an absolute pleasure to have you listening along, and thank you so much for all the follows this week on X. For anyone who hasn't done so yet, please come and follow me on X. I am at Amanda SD Pod. That's at Amanda SD Pod. So, pretty safe to say my SummerSlam predictions were awful, and that's probably quite tame. I may retire the predictions altogether. I think my problem is that I predict what my heart wants rather than what my head thinks, which is probably a metaphor for my life as well. So there we go. Anyhow, what did you guys think of SummerSlam? I didn't manage to stay up and watch live, even though I said I would do on the last show. I'm getting too old, guys, for 2 all-nighters in a row. I thought it was a great show. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was very enjoyable, and I think pretty much every match hit the spot. The Roman return was handled fantastically, and the Dom turn, which I was absolutely certain was not happening, was excellent. The Finn turn took me by surprise, although I might be the only person that it did take by surprise, and I'm completely loving it. So yeah, SummerSlam, huge thumbs up from me. Then we got an excellent Monday Night Raw this week as well, which was kind of like a Raw after WrestleMania. I thought it was fantastic. Probably as good a episode of Raw as I remember seeing recently. The Judgment Day angle is great, and also the Wyatt Six. Their debut in ring was also amazing. What a time to be a fan of WWE, guys. We are blessed. Wow, lucky us. That's all I've got to say. So guys, quick apology in advance. I'm recording in a slightly different place this week, and I have an additional dog, which is a very small puppy. She's only 13 weeks old. She's not mine. She belongs to a family member, which I'm taking care of. I have my normal dog, who's an absolute angel and just completely ignores me when I podcast. But I don't know how the puppy is going to be. So if you hear anything that sounds like tippy tapping on the floor or yaps and growlings, etc., please excuse me. It's the puppy. So, let's get started on this week's review of SmackDown, which aired on the 9th of August and came from Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I am aware of Tulsa. I think there's a song about it. I'm aware of Oklahoma because I know there's a musical based around it. So, this is me making progress with my American geography. So we start off this week's show with a review of SummerSlam. I really like that Jelly Roll song that they used throughout the show, and the one he performed, and the one that's on the montage. I've even got it off of Apple Music. Usually I don't really care for the music that WWE puts out in coordination with shows, but really like this one. So thumbs up Jelly Roll. The show itself opens with Cody, and he comes out to his usual gigantic pop. I noted that it must be hot in Tulsa, because he doesn't have his whole suit jacket on this week. He just has a waistcoat on. He asked Tulsa what they want to talk about. I mean, duh, Cody, come on. There's literally one thing anyone wants to talk about. Let's get on to it. Commentary then chips in and tells us that Roman is in the house and live tonight. Yay! It's all happening. I did have a little fear that he wouldn't show up tonight, but he did. He says he doesn't want to delve into the past. He knows all eyes are on what happens next. The WWE Championship is the North Star of the business. He said he's been thinking about who he wants to defend against at the Bash in Berlin, and at that point is rudely interrupted by Solo. Corey says Cody was mistaken if he thought the bloodline were done. The crowd are booing the house down. Solo says he doesn't care what Cody wants or what Tulsa wants. Solo wants to talk about SummerSlam. He says everyone knows if it wasn't for Roman, Solo would have been champion. The crowd are cheering OTC, Original Tribal Chief, which I'm totally there for. I think that's brilliant. And then Solo demands a rematch. Cody says to Solo that he couldn't get the job done on his own and that even Jacob Fatu got hurt, which sending Roman Reigns on the warpath, all because he is cosplaying at being Tribal Chief. What a line. I love that. That's really cool. Cody says Solo is delusional if he thinks he is getting a rematch. The new bloodline enter the ring as KO slides in with a pair of steel chairs, gets ready to fight them off. They retreat like the cowardly custards they are, and Solo says he will find Cody later after he deals with Roman Reigns. Just as we think that promo's all over, Cody cuts his music and says he wants to talk to KO, and it turns out that he would like to face KO for the championship. KO says he doesn't deserve a title match and he hasn't earned it. Yep, no shit. And he isn't the guy. Cody says that he hasn't forgot, and nor have the people. The crowd are very into this and chanting, "You deserve it." KO has been there for Cody every time he's got into a corner with the bloodline. And Cody's going straight to tell Nick Aldis to make the match. This was a strong opening segment, and leaving the excitement hanging to actually see Roman back on SmackDown. And a possible setup for Cody for Bash in Berlin. KO must be the most reluctant challenger ever. I'm not sure about this one, guys. I didn't think it would be KO. Certainly, if it was going to be either KO or Randy, I definitely thought it would be Randy. But yeah, I'm not feeling it. But let's see if there's any extra additional juicy bits added to it to make it slightly more interesting for everybody, because at the moment, meh. So, next out is our first match, a number one contender tag team match. This is A-Town Down Under versus the Street Profits. Before the match, we have a quick backstage interview with the Profits and B-Fab. Montez says that the Bloodline might be champions, but since the real Tribal Chief came back, they just can't get it together. I mean, to be fair, that was only last weekend and there hasn't been a show in between, but fair point. He says it's been 3 years since they held the tag team gold. I didn't realise that it had been that long, but yeah, it's 3 years since they held the tag team gold, and it's just so happens that A-Town Down are in their way. They get a really nice pop from the Tulsa crowd, and Corey says it shouldn't be underestimated what B-Fab has brought to the Profits. So does this mean, guys, that she's now officially moved to a manager role? Bobby's obviously now gone, and we're clearly not going to talk about that. But so this looks like B-Fab, at least for the moment, being put into a manager role, which is cool. Seems to be working well. We kick off the match with Dawkins and Theory. Theory getting in the early offensive, and a quick tag gets Waller into the ring. Waller slides out and takes out Montez, but in the ring, Dawkins is making inroads on Theory, but only briefly, as Waller is in and hits big clothesline on the outside. B-Fab serves as a distraction as Montez does an epic dive to the outside of the ring, taking both Waller and Theory down. As we come back from the break, annoyingly, WWE obviously didn't receive my letter because they've gone back to just changing things. So come back from the break, and Theory is now back in charge, and a blind tag from Waller. Dawkins escapes and lays out Waller with a big punch, tag made, and Montez is in with two big clotheslines on Waller and a flapjack, a belly to back suplex, and a standing moonsault for a near fall. Dawkins is on absolute fire, and he's up top. And Montez in the A-Town down under corner where they take advantage, get a near fall on Montez. We've got now Theory is in, Waller conducting their normal shenanigans outside, but Dawkins managed to lay out Waller on the outside. Blind tags made and a super blockbuster on Theory for the 3 count, and a victory for the Profits. This was actually a great match, decent length. I did completely forget to check the times this week, guys, but it felt like a decent length. These two teams have really developed a good chemistry, and I'm liking the slightly more ruthless Street Profits. So they're a little bit less New Day and a bit more gnarly. I'm enjoying that. I don't like Waller and Theory, but they are pretty good. Particularly Waller's got some brilliant moves. So yeah, great match. We then go backstage where, as promised, Cody is talking to Nick Aldis and KO is also there. He's still disagreeing that he deserves a title match. Nick saying it's a moot point as he is actually waiting to discuss the title match with Roman. KO objects to this strongly, to say the least, and cuts quite a great promo back, saying that Roman certainly doesn't deserve it. KO says if the rematch clause, which hasn't been enforced in years, love that, great line. He says he never got his rematch. He says that everyone in the locker room deserves a rematch or a match for the championship more than Roman, and he should take a trip to the locker room and go see. Nick says he doesn't need to. KO deserves it and makes the match. Classic gladiator reverse psychology. Make KO think he's not in the running and doesn't deserve it, and he'll do the job for you. As I said, still not particularly excited about this match, but let's give it the benefit of the doubt and see how this plays out. We then get a very short backstage segment with Tiffany Stratton giving instructions to a WWE employee about the preparations for Nia Jax's championship celebration next week. Enter Pretty Deadly. I love them. Saying that the party sounds so good. They try and recruit Tiffany for Pretty Deadly the musical. She walks off, and then we see Chelsea and Piper. And Chelsea says if the party is as classy as the abysmal briefcase, she should let her take over. Chelsea and Piper say they see right through this, and call Tiffany Tacky Time again, which again I love. That's brilliant. They say that they know this is just a ploy to be able to cash in on Nia. And Wade says from commentary that he agrees with Chelsea Green. There's no way Nia can trust Tiffany. Well, again, duh. But it's nice to know that we're not just expected to believe everything like Egypt, which is great. Next, we get a reminder on last week's women's tag team match with the champs versus Jade and Bianca, and a reminder of Blair Davenport's involvement. And this sets us up for the next match, which as Jade makes her entrance, pretty decent response from the crowd, and she makes her way to the ring with Bianca. As we return from the break, Alba Fire makes her entrance with Isla Dawn. No sign of Blair Davenport yet, but I do obviously suspect we'll see her at some point because there seems to be something brewing. As we get underway, Alba gets in some early kicks and tries to use power against Jade, which, to be honest, seems quite unwise strategy. Jade lifts her up one-handed and holds her above her head. She didn't actually make any kind of move out of it, but I mean, it looked cool, and it shows you how blooming strong Jade is. Fire gets a tornado DDT on Jade and gets a quick cover for a 1. Fire stays on top with a submission move, but again, Jade powers out with a body slam and a huge kick. And then Cargill hits Jaded, and that's it, all over. As I said, I didn't time this match. I didn't get any of the timings, but I'm thinking it was max 3 minutes. Bit disappointing, bit short. I'm sure there was a reason, and it's probably Roman's return, which is completely expected. But let's hope that's not a pattern that we follow, because we like the women to have a, decent, fair portion of the airtime. And then, as I said above, here comes Blair. Davenport and the Three start laying into Jade and Bianca. And then Naomi's music hits, and out she comes to make the save and even up the numbers. The faces clean house and stand tall in the ring. So I'm thinking a 3-on-3 at Bash in Berlin. I don't know if the title would be on the line. Maybe they'll do that Freebird rules thing that they used to do sometimes with the New Day. That would be quite cool. We've not seen that, and that would be a way to add a bit of zhuzh to the tag division and the women's division as well. So let's see. So back from the break, we get LA Knight coming out. Huge pop. For me, I don't think he feels like he's lost any of his overness, if that's a word. He has maintained the amount of which he is over from when he had his title shot. He is absolutely on fire. Our new US champ gets the mic and says SummerSlam is come and gone. One question remains. It must have been sweet to beat Logan Paul in his hometown. He says he doesn't give a damn about beating Logan in his hometown. He promised he would be champ, and here he is, a fresh US champ. He knows now that he has the title. He's a marked man. He says he's been a marked man all along. He says he can't stop being US champ. He's then interrupted by Santos, who tells him congratulations. He says the crowd sucks and Knight sucks, which the crowd strongly disagree with. He says he's not an everyday guy like Knight gets a championship, and he doesn't buy it. He says that he's just an opening act to Escobar's reign. He says he's the one who truly deserves to be US champ, with everyone saying Escobar, si. I don't think that will catch on. I'm not feeling that. Knight says the only thing Escobar deserves is to have his brakes beat off him again by Knight. Knight says he won't let Escobar take his belt. We now get Andrade's entrance for the match, which is a number one contender match for the US Championship. This should be a great match because both of these guys are superb. As we come back from the break, we get a subtitled promo video from Giovanni Vinci. He says the past is behind him, losses are lessons. He says he has become the man he was meant to be, and knows no limits. And for some reason, we see him, well, it might be him, but it's probably not him. We see a person skiing, and then we see him driving a red Ferrari. So we seem to be going full-on Italian stereotype with him now, which is cool. He certainly carries it well, and is looking great, actually. So obviously he's making a return, which is fab. Back in the ring, the match has already started. And it's pretty even in the early stages. Corey tells us these two have a rivalry going back to their time in Mexico, but this is their first meeting in a WWE ring. Andrade is in control and takes it outside to Escobar, and that's when Legado del Fantasma is waiting, of course, and Escobar grabs a quick cover for two. At that point, Apollo and Baron come out to even the odds on the outside, and that pretty much neutralises the two guys, certainly out of Legado del Fantasma anyway. Andrade then, with a huge kick, and is knocked off the top rope to the outside by Escobar. Escobar does some damage to Andrade on the outside, and then they're back in the ring. Escobar hits Tilt the World backbreaker straight into an armbar. Andrade starts fighting back and gets a huge kick to Escobar's head. Both guys up on the top rope, which results in a massive powerbomb from the top by Andrade, and this leaves both guys struggling in the ring as we go to the break. As we come back, Escobar has taken the upper hand, annoying again, but Andrade fights back with some beautiful moves. Escobar rolls out of the ring and Andrade hits a moonsault to the outside. He hits a crossbody from the top rope and goes for a cover, getting a good long 2 count. Andrade then hits the Three Amigos and a cover again for another 2 count. Andrade back on top, but Escobar meets him at the top rope. And Escobar hits Poison Arama for a super close 2 count. Super kick by Santos, but Andrade hits back, and then they're back up to the top with a moonsault and another 2 count. This is a great match. Carmelo Hayes from nowhere pops up at ringside. He's quite quickly dispatched by Andrade, but off the distraction, Escobar tries to hit the Phantom Driver, which is countered. Phew, I'm exhausted by this stage. This is just go, go, go. Elektra up on the apron with the distraction, allowing Carmelo to interfere once again. And Escobar grabs the tights with a roll-up and a 3 count. And Escobar is our new number 1 contender to the new US champ. And he goes again. He's really trying to get over the Escobar over. I really, really don't think so. Good match though. Really, really good match. Very much enjoyed it. 2 great guys. Good to see they're still trying with Carmelo. So let's hope that he gets a good push and a good story, and he's not just going to be constantly interfering in things that don't concern him. We then get a recap Freudian slip, from last week's show, where we see how the Bloodline captured the tag titles from DIY. We get a walking to the ring promo again for DIY, where we get Ciampa saying they knew they were walking into Bloodline territory and rules, and the Bloodline stole the titles. Gargano says they defeated him in his hometown, and they will do whatever it takes to get them back. We get DIY's entrance then for this number 1 contenders match for the tag team titles against Pretty Deadly. We get a look at next week's card. We get told that next week is a celebration for Nia Jax from Florida, organised by Princess Tiffany. So, what could possibly go wrong there, guys? And we also get Blair and Naomi confirmed for next week. Backstage, we get Waller and Theory in with Nick Aldis, chopsing off about how hard done by they are feeling. They say you just ask for what you want and you get it, and Theory jokes, yeah, like Waller versus KO. Nick jumps in and makes that match for next week, so it looks like Theory isn't quite as dumb as he looks. Or maybe he is, but... So, we don't... with DIY already in the ring, we now get Pretty Deadly coming down. Again, dressed in something that looks like charity shop Marks and Spencer from the 70s. Great outfits. Wade says, that's how you make an entrance. Yeah, you aren't kidding, Wade. That is how you make an entrance. We start with all 4 standing off and DIY in control early on. Pretty Deadly with a double uppercut taken out from behind by DIY. We come back from the break. Ciampa is in with both Pretty Deadly and is getting all the moves in. Double clothesline, dominating Pretty Deadly. Tag to Gargano and a pin on Elton for a 2 count. Gargano through the ropes, but Elton counters and scores an uppercut on Ciampa, followed by a bulldog and another cover, which Johnny has to jump in and break up. Ciampa with some huge chops on Kit from Pretty Deadly, and the double team then from Pretty Deadly. Johnny is tagged in, and a double team move from DIY, followed by a meet in the middle, and Johnny gets the cover. So it will be DIY versus the Street Profits for the number one tag team contender match. Again, nice match, really solid. Still loving DIY. Pretty Deadly are always impressive as well. And the tag team division, guys, is looking quite strong right now. I don't know if you agree with me, but I think we, on both the men's and to a point the women's side, they are starting to build a good looking division for the tag team. So we get to Solo backstage. Tama Tonga tells him Roman still isn't here. Solo says he will be, and they make their entrance. God, is this the moment we've been waiting for? Back from the break, Solo is waiting in the ring. He tells Tulsa to acknowledge him, and they choose not to, apart from with boos. He speaks directly to Roman, saying he is the tribal chief now, and if Roman calls himself the tribal chief and wants the layback, he should come and get it. Roman's music hits and the crowd goes nuts. It's like this is what people have been waiting for all night. He has new graphics too, with the OTC on them, which is cool, original tribal chief, and Roman makes his way to the ring. It seems to be a bit quicker than normal as well, which is awesome. Tama Tonga rushes him, Roman poleaxes him, no problem, and then the same with Tonga Loa, who again gets mullered with the ring steps, which is brilliant. Solo and Roman then have a pretty intense stare down. The crowd are chanting OTC, and Roman gets in the ring and starts beating down Solo straight away. Starts off with a Superman punch. Never seen anything like it. Roman is so over. I mean, I think we all knew he was going to be over when he came back, but he is over. He goes to hit the spear, but is pulled from the ring by Tonga Loa. Roman takes the lay to a huge pop, but the Tongans attack from behind, and Solo bails. Roman takes them both out with a Superman punch and a spear. The spear on Tonga Loa nearly breaks him in half, and then another spear on the outside to Tama Tonga. I mean, they're not messing around. They're not playing here, guys. This is like serious, absolutely getting smashed. Roman then takes part the commentary table. I'm sure he was planning on putting someone through it, but instead he grabs the chair and is just smashing Tonga Loa. Absolutely brilliant. As I said, they are not messing around. This is some serious stuff they've got going on here. We go off the air with the crowd absolutely screaming OTC, and Roman standing proud in the ring. And just, wow, this looks even better than I thought it would be. And we still have the OG bloodline to return. Hopefully, coming back, we have Heyman, we have the Usos. Hopefully, this is just awesome. Absolutely awesome. My only bugbear with the whole of this episode, I think, is the weird curveball of Cody versus KO. I don't get that. But as I said, let's see how it plays out. But apart from that, this SmackDown was equally as good as Raw was on Monday. So as I said at the beginning, aren't we lucky to be watching WWE at this time? I mean, Thunderdome era, what? So guys, look me up on X this week. I am at Amanda SD Pod. And that just about does it for this week's show. Slightly shorter than normal due to my weird location, additional dog, and being slightly late. So apologies for that. Once again, and as always, thank you for having me in your ears. Please get in touch on X, as I said. I really appreciate that. I hope you all have a great week. And until next time, please remember, be kind.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.